Well, Lacey, thank you for coming on the Red Carpet Roundtable.
Thank you guys. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. And first of all, let's talk about the name change. Why did you change your name?
Yeah, so the name change, I know it was kind of sudden, and it's funny because my mom and I didn't really handle it too well. We just kind of like changed everything and then we'd let people kind of scramble and try and figure it out. But um so I took an amazing trip to Japan, which is where my family's from, and I reconnected with my family and family members, and we realized that, I mean, my birth name is Stogdill and people could never say that, and Lacey Caroline never really felt right. And so we met with my family and reconnected with them, and I reconnected with my like culture and my family name, and we realized that that was a family name of ours, and we asked for their permission, and they said that they wanted us to assume the name of Katena and take it on and continue to tell our story. Because
Oh,
when we met them,
wow.
it was really sweet because they were like, we were estranged, we had not met each other, we didn't know that we existed basically, and they were like, "Oh, we really want you to get close with like my cousin on like my line of the tree in my generation." They were like, "We want you guys to get close and like become family and friends so that you can continue to tell our story and tell the story of our family and keep like the Katana name alive." And I was like, "I have a way I can do that, and I would love to like represent in a family because it's such a alive and blossoming
Hmm.
family, and also just to, I don't know, to feel more at home with my name and
Yeah,
myself." And that was a huge thing for me of I never felt connected to my name at all. And then
amazing.
when I heard Katena and I felt Katena, I was like, wait, that kind of eats. Like that really makes sense. So yeah.
That's amazing because I'm actually from Japan. Um,
Hey.
yes, so I have two last names, but it's amazing. I'm so glad. I'm so proud of you, and represent both countries, the relationship, and also it gave me chills when you were talking about it because also it's representing the film industry in both countries. You got
Yeah.
Japan and the United States with the TV show Shogun that's going on, and so I kind of figured by reading the last name, but I didn't want to say anything yet. But anyway, so I just wanted to say that I'm so proud of you, and I'm from Tokyo, Japan, and
Nice.
so keep that relationship, keep that culture, and you learn the film industry in Japan
Hmm.
because I've been there so many times,
Yes.
and you see. One time, I'll make it quick. I was walking in the streets in Yokohama, and there was people, actors, doing a film set, and they were
Oh
just
wow.
there was people in the crowd walking, and I was walking behind their camera, and I was like,
Oh,
really?
that's
I was like, what are you guys
amazing.
doing? They're filming, and I was like, that's so cool. But anyways, you
Hmm.
learn so much different the film industry in both countries, and it's
Hmm.
amazing. And you never know, you will go to Japan and be an actress there. I hope you will.
I hope
I'm
so.
so proud of you. Keep it up.
I'm really fascinated by the film industry over there. It's huge. But my family's from Okinawa originally, and then now our family lives in Osaka. But we're kind of like everywhere. It's a big family, which we didn't realize. But it was really cool being able to experience all of that. So
That's so
yeah,
amazing. That's so amazing.
thank
I
you.
think my question for you, since
Mhm.
we're on the topic of your name change, is what perspective have you gotten now that you've actually changed your last name? You're
Mhm.
writing with it now. What have you gathered from it since that the point of changing everything to now where you are?
I feel like it's kind of, I really don't know. That's a great question. Hmm. I think the perspective I've gained is I've come into my own a little bit more. I'm not afraid to be just fully myself, you know,
Mhm.
and I've never really been afraid of that. But I think with the name change, I'm like, oh, hey, well, I'm Lacey Katena. Like that makes sense. It rolls off the tongue a little bit. Like it works, and I've gained a perspective of, I guess, maturity. I feel a lot more my age, and I feel as if I'm not like having to act older than I am. Does that make sense? Because
Mm-hmm.
like Lacey Caroline was such a young name, and it works. Don't get me wrong, love it. Don't I love her, love Lacey Caroline, but I felt like I always had to overcompensate with my maturity in a way, and now I can just kind of sit in myself and sit with my being and be happy about it because I'm Lacey Katena. Like it makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's catchy.
It's
It is.
catchy, right?
It is.
Okay. I'm glad somebody thinks so. Sorry, my I have a cough right now because of the air quality where I am is not the greatest. So I'm like getting over that. So if I start laughing and like hacking up a lung, I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. And it is catchy. It is catchy, and
Mhm,
it's amazing. By the way, I'm glad you're okay from the wildfires. But uh,
mhm.
and that's what I'm saying. The last name is so catchy, and
Thank you.
I understand you feel that maturity,
Hmm.
and you
And
feel that.
it's not a sense of feeling older per se. It's just like I feel more set and I'm like, all right, I'm ready to take on the industry. I'm ready to take on the world kind of thing. Sorry,
Right.
that was corny, but I loved
No,
it.
no, it's not.
No, which is kind of funny because that's literally what was written about you for our page, that
Oh
you
wow.
are taking on this journey
Hmm.
by storm.
I'm
And
trying to. Yeah.
and but I just think it's fascinating because not very many people are willing to change their name.
Hmm.
You have to really be in a place of where you're just mind made up,
Hmm.
you know, that this is the name you're going to rock with throughout the rest of your film industry, and the career path that you're taking. So, but the catchiness of it has no problem at all.
Okay, good. Thank God.
It's actually amazing. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank
Congratulations.
you. I
You're
appreciate
very,
you guys.
you're very welcome. I want to dig into now the film
Mhm,
industry. Now, what is the big difference have you noticed? And I like to ask this question because moving from one state across the country to another state, from
mhm,
where you're originally from to
mhm,
LA, the film industry, what have you noticed in the culture wise, and what have you noticed the my question went blank, but culture wise in the
mhm.
film industry in the fast paced life and the all the auditions and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think what I've noticed is like it's really not as different as I thought it was going to be. Uh, and I say that in the way of everybody still knows everybody. And I've met people that I'm like, oh my gosh, wait, you know this person from North Carolina. How do you know this person? Like, and it's continuously like the connections are still very much there and it's still very fast paced, but it's definitely faster here. That's something I've noticed. And um, everybody has so much knowledge here. And I'm not saying that North Carolina doesn't, because everybody's extremely talented and brilliant in North Carolina, but there are so many more people to learn from and there are so many more classes and there are so many more workshops and like you can meet somebody who's like, oh yeah, I said hi to Brad Pitt the other day, and I'm like, how do you know Brad Pitt? What do you mean? And it's very fun to be able to hear stories and learn from experience from their experiences because I've only been out here for like a collective 2 or 3 months because I was out of town in November and December, and I've just like it's been a bit of a culture shock coming here. You know, it's not very common to walk down the street and smile and wave. That's a North Carolina thing. I get that now. Because you walk down the street and do like a half smile and suddenly it's like, "Oh, hi, can I talk to you about this?" I'm like, I was just being polite. I'm sorry. That's not what I meant to do. Like that was not my purpose. Um, but people are nice out here. I think there was a misconception in Charlotte. They were like, "Oh my gosh, it's such a scary city. Everybody's going to be so mean." I'm like, "No, everybody's great. I'm having a great time. As long as I'm friendly first, they're friendly back. So I just got to be friendly first, and that's easy." And yeah, the industry is very fast. Auditioning is a lot easier here because I mean everything's still online, and I that's how I learned because my career started kind of right before COVID, And then I've been in North Carolina, so everything I audition for is out here and it is online. So I'm very well versed in self tapes and I do those pretty often. But it's all everything happens a lot faster here. It's like you send in the self tape, oh, they get back to you. It's not like I'm waiting 2 weeks because they're like, oh shoot, she's the girl from North Carolina. We'll text her back. And I'm like, oh, but no, here it's like you send in a self tape. Okay, we're not interested. Send in a self tape. Oh, hey, we need you for a callback. It's very quick and the turnover is great and it's fast paced. And that keeps me on my toes because I know now what it's like to fall behind in my auditions. I have like let them pile up, and then my mom and I are going, "Oh my god, we have 6 to do in 2 days." Okay, great. Let's buckle down and do it. But now I'm kind of like, okay, let's lock in. Let's make sure that I'm on top of my stuff. But yeah.
That's amazing. Audition. Do you do you feel? Because I've been asking this lately. Do you? A lot of old traditional actors, and Dale can speak because he's an actor as well. But do you feel doing in-person act audition is better than online? Because in person, you can show your first impression, and that's it. You have the
Mm-hmm.
directors and everybody there, and that's it. You do it in person, they see who you are, and that's it. Online, it's easy and dandy, wherever you are. So,
Mm-hmm.
in your view, do you like it the old traditional way, be going in person, or do you like it on Zoom, where it's your own space?
I hmm, that's kind of hard because I didn't ever really do in person. I did a few in North Carolina, but there weren't that many in person auditions there. And then here, I think I maybe remember doing two before I moved out here. And so I personally think it's better for the industry and probably better for actors in general and us as people, maybe to be able to meet people in person and learn to be personable and like look people in the eye and shake hands and do all the things that you got to do to be friendly and to make those connections. But I've always liked the online premise because for me it's nice to be able to do a self tape that's not in person and I can really hone it and send in my best take. But then I guess that also kind of defeats the purpose. So I think it depends, you know. If I had more experience in person, I would probably prefer that, but I don't. So I have to do more in person auditions and kind of learn to do those because I did those for theater, but not as much for film.
Okay, I was just curious because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people like the old traditional actors, sorry, not to call them out, but they're more, they like it in person more than online. The younger generation, like, they like it online because school
Yeah.
and you don't have to worry about traveling. But thank you for answering that question.
Yeah, of course.
So after doing a little research and now hearing from you, Miss North Carolina,
Yes.
I lived in Charlotte for quite some time.
Really?
And matter of fact, while living in North Carolina is when I took a little trip to Atlanta for my very first audition. And I had
No
no,
way.
yeah. And so I was like, this is awesome. You know why I love North Carolina? Because it's absolutely beautiful.
It's gorgeous. Yeah.
When you're
I
in that plane and you're going in for the landing and you see all those green, beautiful trees,
mhm.
you know that you're in the right place versus coming here to Oklahoma, you see
Mhm.
squares,
Squares. Yeah.
land, land. But my question for you was you got a great start with your mother being a filmmaker, producer. Is that correct?
So no, my mom was a corporate event producer for 15, 20 years and I had been cast in a pilot a long time ago and the team came to her and was like, "Hey, do you think you could produce this? Cuz you do events like a film's just basically a big event." My mom was like, "Yeah, I could figure it out." And from then she caught the bug and now she loves it. But she was involved in my career just as purely a mom, and she wanted to help me get like succeed in whatever. But I basically forced her to make me start acting. I was like, please, I want to do this, but I don't know how. At like 10 years old, and she was like, we can figure it out. And so it's been a journey of like her being my momager and being my number one fan and my biggest supporter. But she got into it now because of me, but now she's like a filmmaker and a producer. But that's took a few years to get off the ground, and now she's doing it.
That's amazing. What,
Mhm.
how much of an influence was she for you, knowing that you may have led her to the industry, but now that she's blossomed and started to take off, how is that? What influence has that been for you? And how has that made you want to push even harder to get to the next level of this industry?
For me, I'm just so proud of her. Like, she'll never know how proud of her I am, but every time she's like, yeah, this might be a thing. I don't want to get too excited because I don't think it's going to happen. I'm over here on the phone jumping up and down in my kitchen. And I'm like, this is so exciting. Why are you not freaking out? And I'm so incredibly proud of her, but I also, like, I want to stay kind of separate from her of she's doing her own thing. I'm doing my own thing. And maybe one day we can be like we are a producing team. Like this would be kind of fun in the future. And I mean, I have the same brain as her. Like we're both very logical. So it's nice being able to like learn from her what she does on a producing side as a way of how I can help with my acting side, make things easier on set and make things easier for producers and directors and casting directors and stuff. But it's also made me want to push harder and get places on my own because I don't want her to give me my opportunities. I want to be able to go to classes, learn, read. I'm reading like 18 billion books right now. And like
That's the
I'll
book.
sit we got this one, we have like respect for acting, like an actor's work, all the acting stuff. I've got like 8 notebooks that I'm writing in, and every night I'm just like I read 10 pages of each just to make sure that I'm like locking in and reading everything I can. And I'm about to start taking like a second class. So I'm doing everything in my power to improve and become a truly brilliant actor because that's my goal. Without her help, but it's nice to have her as my biggest supporter.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Now, I read about the awards that you won in 2021. Let's go over that for the audience to hear, your accomplishments and accolades. You're not just an actress. You've been really digging deep at this for a while. So if you don't mind sharing that with everyone, that would be wonderful.
Yeah. I What do you mean? Sorry.
Well, like the Young Youth Award that you
Mhm.
won, um, was it filmmaker of the year?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm now processing. There was a filmmaker of the year award that I won that was such an honor, and I had no idea that I was even possible to like be nominated for it because I was like young, and also I'm an actor, and I thought I was just an actor, but I realize now that I've been helping behind the scenes as like an associate producer for a while, and like doing little things to help and like with story and creative and stuff like that because I have a lot of ideas. And so if somebody's like, hey Lacey, I'd love to hear your thoughts, I go, okay, do you have an hour and a half and a notebook because I've got a lot to say. And so I do a little bit. I've been trying to get more into producing. Uh I really enjoy the behind the scenes type of stuff. I love, like, I'm not a writer. I wish I was. It's like kind of kills me a little bit that I'm not a writer. But I love kind of just doing what I can to contribute where I can, if that makes sense. And I do want to end up as a producer one day, producer and director.
Oh yeah, and you
Mhm.
will.
No,
Yes.
thanks.
'Kay. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
10 years. I love this question. And I love how every time I answer it, it changes. Um, in 10 years, I see myself hopefully I'm making my own stuff. Um, I'm producing some like blockbuster films. I'm producing indie films. Probably on a ranch in Wyoming somewhere, producing from my home office. That'd be awesome. But I also see myself like bringing young indie filmmakers into light while also simultaneously continuing to hone my craft and hopefully maybe be in a film that's nominated for an Oscar or something crazy, like just in my mind, I want all of my hard work to pay off. And if that's in 10 years or if that's in 20 years or if that's in 30 years, I don't care. But I just want to I just want to specifically get my acting craft to a certain point where I'm like, I got this. And like I said this earlier just a little bit, but I have this like satiable yearning to be a brilliant actor. And to me, the only way to do that is to continue to go to classes and to learn all the different methods and the different teachings and do all that. And I hope by then I'm at least halfway there.
Amazing. Thank you. And
Yeah, of course.
yeah, because everybody loves that 10-year question because everybody has a different goal,
Yeah.
and it's amazing to hear all those questions. Um, who really motivated you or inspired you up to now?
Like someone in my life or like an actor I love.
An actor and someone in your life as well.
Okay. An actor for me is Florence Pugh. I really love her and she is such an inspiration for me and how genuine and just beautiful her acting is and how beautiful she is. She's gorgeous. But also I, when I watch her performances, I feel every second of it like I'm that person. And she really finds a way to bring you into her world. And I love that. Um, so like one day, like, you know how people say don't meet your idols? Well, I want to meet my idol. So I'm gonna try and meet her one day at least once. Um, and then someone who has really motivated me in my life, I I've been very fortunate to have so many supporters and people that have been in my corner. Um, but I've got to say, my mom. Is that weird? She is like I said earlier, she's my number one supporter, and my mom and my dad both. My dad, he finds a way to make every audition, every like booking or non-booking fun. Like no matter what, I feel like supported by both of them. And also, like if I'm upset about something, my dad's like, "Hey, do you want to go get some ice cream and talk about it?" Like I don't know. It's I think my parents have really been there for me and been my motivators. And it's not in the way of like child actors like their parents are forcing them to act. That's not what I'm saying. I got into this of my own merit, and I've basically forced them to help me. So okay, that's that. But yeah, it's my parents for sure.
That's absolutely amazing. Good. It's good to have family support for sure.
Yeah,
And in this industry, we run into and meet people and and hear people, and it's absolutely amazing because we all have a similar story and background about getting in
yeah,
this industry, why we want to do it, and it's a family. We're a family. It doesn't
yeah,
matter where we're living. We're a family, and that's one thing I love about this industry because
yeah.
I know for sure you, Lacey, and Daryl can agree because you get on Instagram and you get all these comments and messages supporting you, and you're like, wow, it's really amazing because you become a family, and then when you meet
Yeah.
them in person, you're like, wait, I've seen you before, and they're like, yeah, I've seen you before, and then you have to think for a minute, you're like, hold on, you're like, oh, we follow each other on Instagram, and that's one thing I love about this big family support that it's to me it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, especially like in North Carolina, like the North Carolina indie scene and all the people that I know from there and all the wonderful actors and the wonderful production people that I know. I know that I'll always have their support too. And like every time my mom's like, "Oh, this person reached out, like they just want to say good luck, all this kind of stuff." I'm like, "Oh," and they reach out to her on Facebook because they know her from meeting her on set while we were on set together working. And it's like it's wonderful to know that like I have the North Carolina film scene and all the people from there, and it's really funny because the other day I had a Zoom call with somebody who played my mom like 7 years ago, and she was like my reader for a callback, and I was like, oh my god, hi! It was so good to see her, but like specifically in the film scene, we all like follow each other on Instagram, and then we meet each other. We're like, I know you from somewhere. They're like, I've been following you on Instagram for 7 years. I'm like, I've been following you on Instagram for 7 years. And it's just like, it's amazing to like see the camaraderie, you know?
Absolutely, you're right. Absolutely.
Now that you have been within the industry 7, 8 years, now for the tough question.
Oh,
What is your why?
was my why?
Yes,
Hmm. Just for the industry, for my career in general?
the whole thing,
Oh, the
the
whole
big
shebang.
picture. What is
Okay.
your why? Where do you see yourself in this why, and what are you accomplishing?
My why, I think, is to make one little girl feel a little bit more seen. Uh, there's something to be said about actors and artists in general of we all as human beings want to be seen and understood. And I as an actor, I want to portray stories that can make somebody else feel more seen when they didn't. And for example, like I wish I could go back in time and tell little me and be like, you are seen and you are understood, you just haven't discovered that art yet. And I want to, through my art and through my performance, to show somebody and show some other little girl who's struggling and be like, hey, you're seen. I understand you. And this character in this movie understands you. And you can feel heard and understood just by the art and just by the movie or the book or the whatever comes out, you know? Um, and I see myself as an advocate for mental health, I think. And I say I think because I'm trying to make it feel less like heavy and downtrodden. I really do see myself as an advocate for mental health and making mental health less stigmatized and um, finding ways to raise awareness while also keeping it um, as a thing of this needs to be helped, you know?
Mhm.
So that I think that really is my why is making somebody else feel seen.
That's an incredible answer just because it's true. And the reason why I'm saying that is because no one gets in front of the camera to not want to make someone feel something.
Mm-hmm.
Every writer that's coming up with a movie is going off either their own emotion or the character that they're speaking of. And
Mm-hmm.
that character is to resonate with somebody to make them feel something. And that's how I feel like as humans, we get over and conquer and become better
Mm-hmm.
when we may be that little girl or that little boy who can't find the answer.
Yeah. Something that
Absolutely.
I'm always told in like acting class and whatever is make your partner feel something and make that person feel something, feel for you, feel this about you. And that's like a technique in acting. But for me in general, it's just I want to help somebody else feel through what they're feeling and not feel stuck in it, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah.
That's true. And I 100% agree with you real quick about mental health, and I'm glad you're advocating about it. Because we need to stop, we need to talk about it, and it's
Mm-hmm.
it's very important that we discuss it. And
I agree.
I'm glad you're talking about it. So that's one thing I want to say because it shouldn't be where we're not afraid, and we should not be afraid to talk about it. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay to talk about it, and it's to tell your friends or family about it. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad that you talked about it, and that you are going to be an advocate, and you're going to keep doing it. So I'm so proud of you for that. Really am.
Oh, thank you.
um, my next big question for you is, do you see yourself, potentially moving back to North Carolina to also build your the production team there as well, and in California as well?
Um, that's a hard question. I think that I would ideally want to, but that's way, 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 way down the line. That's like
I
when
know.
when I have everything figured out and when I have my acting career solidified, then I can be like, okay, let's try and bring big film back to North Carolina and let's figure out a
Hmm.
way to make the scene as thriving as a New York, Atlanta, or LA. Because Charlotte was such a hub for film and still is, but it's harder to get big budget stuff there. And it's still very slowly coming back. But I think that is something that I will do down the line for sure.
That's that's a good answer, because you want to help the town and the community where you first came from, and
Oh, yeah.
anybody wants to do that. That's absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Big question for you is, if you could go back in time, what would you tell a 5-year-old Lacey right now?
Hmm. Oh, I know. Um, in little 5-year old terms of what I'd tell her is don't let anyone dull your sparkle. And I know that sounds a little silly, but I tell people that all the time. Like if they're like, "Oh, I want to start dancing right now. The music's so good." And I go, "Do it. Don't let anyone dull your sparkle. Like it's fun." And uh but in actuality, I try to explain just be yourself. And you're going to have a lot of issues along the way of you don't feel like you can, but the only harm that not being yourself will do is to you, not to anyone else. All the mean people, all the little bullies that you will experience in middle school and high school, all they're gonna do is continue doing what they're doing because they have their own issues. Um, be yourself, and if people don't like it, they don't have to be around you. You don't have to be everybody's best friend. It's okay. Um, and so I'm right now. I'm trying to really live by that. Uh, because I just think it's better to be myself. I like who I am. If that sounds egotistical, I apologize. But I like um feeling at home in myself and my body. And so I feel like it's better to encourage little girls and little boys to be themselves and to say being who they are. Obviously, don't hurt people. Don't be stupid. But like if they're their true selves and they are encouraged to be themselves, then they won't have as many issues of needing to do bad things to fit in and needing to be different to fit in or like they can't or feel like they can't be different. You know what I mean? I know I'm not making any sense, but I'm trying to like telepathically get this to you guys.
No, we're on the
we're
same
locked
page.
in.
Daryl and I are on the same
Yes.
page. I'm shaking my
Locked
head.
in.
Daryl's shaking
Yes.
his head. We're on the same page,
Okay,
and
good.
it's good. I 100% agree with you. Be yourself. Go for it. Don't let anybody tell
Mhm.
you that you can't do it. So that's absolutely
Well,
a,
and the other
a good
thing for
message.
me is it's like, God, you're damn if you do and you're damn if you don't.
Yeah.
Like if you're a soldier over here and you're always down and in the dumps and hate life, then
Mhm.
people think they're sad for you. But if you're actually trying to do something with your life and you're over here and you're going, there's nothing wrong with being confident. You've
Yeah.
earned it. You put in the work. There's
Mhm.
nothing wrong with being proud of the work you've done on yourself and being
Mhm.
proud of that.
And the people that don't like it are the people that don't have confidence in themselves. And also there's something to be said about false confidence as well, of really having deep rooted issues but not wanting to talk about it and not wanting to figure it out. So you walk around with false confidence, but then you're hurting people
Yeah.
because your false confidence causes you to do something else. So it's like, why not just start off with being yourself and loving yourself? And when you have issues with yourself or other people, you go figure it out and you
Mhm.
feel everything in full. And by feeling everything in full, you have a better understanding of your emotions and it'll help you understand others as well. And that's something that I'm trying to like, I'll catch myself and I'll be like, oh, why am I upset about this thing? It's so stupid. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's okay. But understand why you're feeling that way and then work through it. So, yeah.
Wow,
My
you
que
just said
my
everything right there.
Yeah, I mean,
Amazing, amazing. And personally, I see yourself being a motivational speaker as well.
Oh, thanks.
I really
I don't
do,
know about that.
because you're gonna help a lot of young generations who are following the footstep being in this entertainment industry, and you said a lot of good answers and got a lot of good response for
Thank
upcoming
you.
listeners, because they realize being in this entertainment industry, it is tough. You for yourself who started at a young age, you have auditions, you go on set, you have school, you maybe have sports, you have all this stuff that's going on in your life, and but you just said the answer to don't let anybody stop you. Go for
Mm-hmm.
it. And you're gonna have people maybe hateful, but ignore them. Be yourself and do it. And that will encourage your message that you just said will encourage a lot of the audience in the future who will be tuning into this, that they're going to be so powerful and so motivated. They're going to say, if Lacey can do it, I'm going to do it. And so
mhm.
you are going to encourage a lot of young ladies out there and
I hope
gentlemen
so.
out there who are going to be the next generations of actors.
That's the goal.
Lacey, the thing about you is starting at such a young age, you're gathering all of this experience and what not to do, what to do as you're working your way through the industry and being in different films. What has this taught you? You started young, now you're at this point. How much has this really put in an impression on the way that you think and how you really want to see the coming days of your career?
I think what this has taught me in my journey through acting and being a child actor, and I wasn't really a child actor. I was like 10 or 11, but that's still child, I guess. Um, I think I wish I could go back and tell myself to keep learning and to always be improving. Um, because I had always heard that from my dad has this thing of like, you can always be improving. You can always do one thing every day to better yourself. That's a huge thing. That's his like motto basically. And I wish that I would have listened when I was younger because I didn't know as much as I thought I did. Granted, did I think I knew anything? No. But I thought I had a better understanding of acting and all that. And then I come out here and I realize, no, I have no idea what I'm talking about. And so that's why I'm now learning, taking classes, doing all of that. I wish that I would have had the motivation to do that and the resources to do that when I was younger. But I think it's just like what I've learned is that you can always learn something new. You can always do one thing a day to better yourself. Um, because why not? Why not keep I keep saying I always say keep your brain mushy. Like I have to keep my brain working and by reading and going to classes and being on set and experiencing, I'm doing that. But I wish I could have learned that a little bit earlier. But hey, let bygones be bygones. Nothing I can do about that now. But that's what I've learned.
It's,
Nice. Very
that's
nice.
amazing. Now, what would you tell? the next generation your motivational message or your inspirational message to encourage them to give it a shot in this entertainment industry? Because I know you just said don't give up, but what is
Mhm.
your Miss Lacey's quote to tell the next generations, especially your hometown?
I Something that I tend to live by is to find a way to have fun. Um, because to me, no matter what situation you're in, no matter who you're around or what hand you've been dealt, it's if you can come out with a positive outlook of, okay, this is interesting, but I can find a way to have fun. I can figure something out. Like, oh no, I didn't get the role that I wanted in a musical when I was 13 years old, but I'm going to have fun in the ensemble. I'm going to find a way to have fun with my friends. And if you can find a way to enjoy yourself, even in the worst of worst situations, I think it'll make others enjoy themselves too. And it'll bring a more positive environment. And it's like, yes, we've been shooting for 14 hours and we're all exhausted, but you know what? Let me crack a joke or two. Let me try and be silly. Let's try and find a way to have fun while we're all exhausted. Because if you're having fun, other people will. And so I try to live by that. And I don't think that's for everybody, but I just think it's a way that I've made it through, if that makes sense.
Amazing. Again, mic drop. You know, because you're right. You want to have fun. You want to,
Mhm.
make jokes and everything you just said right there is just absolutely amazing.
Oh,
100%.
thanks.
I'm being serious. Um, your favorite genre and what is your dream genre that you want to act in? I know I asked you two
Oh,
questions.
mm, I I really love the horror genre. I will like I spent okay, this is like slasher, so it's kind of I guess a little bit less, but I spent all of Halloween watching every single Scream movie because I had nothing else to do, and I was like, let me just watch a bunch of horror movies by myself. And the original Scream film is one of my favorite films of all time, and so I can watch that over and over, basically quote the entire thing. That and Twilight, but that's a whole other thing. Um, but I love horror. I love slasher. I love like just an indie film, like a drama. That's my dream. As I want to be like a Saoirse Ronan indie darling, um, like no, Daisy Edgar Jones from Normal People. Like that's not indie, but I want to be kind of an indie darling who portrays these like emotionally raw and in depth stories.
Mhm.
Um, and because most of the time they come from a place of truth. And so if I can like express that truth of somebody else's, like the whole thing of like making somebody else feel seen, that's why I want to do that. I also love to be in a rom com. I think those are fun.
Okay.
Or just like a fun little rom com or a romance. Like I said, I mentioned Twilight earlier. I love Twilight. I can basically quote the entire first movie. I have all the books on my shelf right behind the camera, so we know my thing there. But yeah, so it's like it's three. It's horror slasher, rom com, and indie darling. So it's a wide range. I also love
I
sci-fi.
gotta say, by looking at you, you don't seem like a person that loves horror movie. I'm sorry. Or you want to
I
act in a
I
horror
don't
movie, but
I don't seem like it at all. Honestly, I look like if I watched like a thriller, I'd be like, "Ee, I'm hiding." No, but I love horror movies. Like I went to a premiere the other night of The Monkey with Theo James. That was brilliant, and it was scary, but I it was scary and gory and funny, and it was a really brilliant story. And I was just enthralled the entire time. Was I watching behind my hands? Yes, but I was also very enthralled with the story. Um, but I love like the craft of horror and how it's evolved over generations. And I love practical effects and I love like the gory, gross, bloody stuff. Like it's so fun. Mhm.
very interesting. But I do agree with you, the effects and all the scenes. And yeah, some of the horror movies, you're right, it does jump you. But
Uh huh.
it is kind of you have I think we have to have it once sometimes because our
Oh
heart
yeah.
needs it, but
Mhm.
not like I don't do extreme horror movies. Excuse me, but I love horror movies. I'm not like crazy, but I watch it. So
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, will you catch me watching them by myself in my apartment? No, absolutely not. But if we are like, oh, I don't know what movie to watch, I'm like, oh, what about these three horror movies I have hidden in my back pocket that I've been wanting to watch for months, but I can't watch by myself. So yeah.
with popcorn, I have to have popcorn.
Oh, popcorn, because every time when you jump with the popcorn in your hands, it's like ah, and like it goes everywhere. Yeah, you
That's
have to
what
have it.
makes people laugh. If we don't have anything else to like a popcorn going in the living room, like
Mhm.
everybody can laugh about that, and they're like, "Oh, okay."
And
And
we're
then
kind of
by the
out of the
time the
movie for
movie
a
is
second.
over,
Yeah.
you're cleaning up, but you realize, or in the middle of the movie, you're like,
Hmm.
"We're hungry for popcorn. Let's pause the movie," and we're like, we get mad at each other, like, "What happened to popcorn?" Because we got scared. We just threw the bucket in the air. And I mean, it's a
Yeah.
good point, right? So I do agree with you about popcorn. You have to have popcorn during a horror movie. Other than that, other movies, you don't need to have popcorn. Me personally, but popcorn for sure with a horror movie, I have to
Mhm.
have.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
What upcoming projects are you able to share with us and the audience? And yeah, and which one are you most excited about?
Oh. Oh, this is an interesting question. Okay. I I have a horror movie, Sugarcane, coming out soon. Um, and that was picked up by Buffalo 8, our distributor. So, and they have worldwide, I can never say worldwide. It like gets me. Worldwide rights. And so it's releasing later this year. I can't give any more details on that, but I just want to say, hey, Sugarcane, go watch it. It's great. It's scary. Um, and it's that one is very scary and gory. And it's great.
And
Um,
pardon me, the promo video is out actually on that, right?
yes, it is.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to say that real quick. Didn't mean to cut you
Absolutely,
off.
yeah. No, please cut me off. I'm talking a lot. But I'm also in something that's out now, real shorts, A Quarterback Next Door, that had um 50 plus million views, and that was actually like the first thing I did in LA, which was crazy. But I asked to be like a side character on it, and I got here on what was it? Thursday? And then I started filming on Sunday. So I was like, oh, well, nice. I get to film something. And then that went really well. And so all the team on that's really great. And then just a lot of other things that are like in pre-production that I can't really talk about that should be coming out soon. And then I'm in a short film called Self Shadow Animus, which is on the festival circuit right now. That was the last project I filmed in Charlotte, actually. And it was amazing to work with the Rita brothers. I've worked with them a few times before. And Mike Rita, one of the directors, he actually moved to LA around the same time that I did, which was kind of interesting. But be sure to watch for him and watch for the Rita brothers. They're really incredible. Uh, but yeah, I think why you gotta make me choose? They're all so great. Ah, um,
Drum roll.
I'm gonna get in trouble. I'm gonna get a few phone calls. Probably Sugarcane. Because that is like an upcoming release, and I don't know much about it, and I can't say much about it. So I'm like, the anticipation is killing me, and it's kind of adding to the excitement a little bit. But sure, Self Shadow Animus is like pretty close below there because Self Shadow Animus is a brilliant film, and it's one of those short films you have to watch a few times to fully understand it because there's so many like Easter eggs and little things. And like one day we sat with Jack Rita, and he was like, "So do you understand the meaning of this?" And we were filming. We said no, and so he explained it to us for like 30 to 45 minutes. And now going back watching it with the entire thing, because I had the entire script, I still didn't get it. Like there was like so much in there, and I understood the overarching story, but I didn't understand the little things. And so he explained it to us. Watching it again, I was like, "Oh my god, like this is crazy!" And so two favorites right there, I think.
I like how you paused and said the second favorite because you didn't want to get a phone call. I know. I got you. We got
No,
you.
but also I really love both the projects so much, and I'm really proud of my performance in both of them. But Self Shadow Animus is really focused on mental health, so that is
Mhm.
also something that I'm passionate about, and so I implore you guys to watch Self Shadow Animus when you get the chance. But it's on the festival circuit right now, and so I it's doing pretty well. I'm happy about it. But yeah,
And you don't know the release date yet, right?
for Sugarcane,
Yes.
no, I do not. It's just coming later this year.
Okay. We'll
Mhm.
have to keep the audience updated.
Yes, once we are allowed to say a release date, once we have where it's gonna be, I can let you guys know. But I don't have any of that information right now, and the stuff that I do have, I cannot say. So
Right. I can tell by your excitement you want to talk about everything you did. Like you want to say it, but you can't. I totally get it. We got it. It's okay.
mhm.
Next time you can tell the audience, including us, but we'll we won't bug you about it. We totally understand.
Thanks. I can't do like a Tom Holland Spider-Man spoil thing. Like I can't. So,
Right. I totally understand.
mhm,
Um, my my last question for
mhm.
you is, Lacey, you have excuse me, my mic kind of went weird. You came
You're good.
from North Carolina and moved all the way to LA. And a lot of people must be wondering, do you feel homesick? And was it crazy? I know it sounds weird to saying this, but was it crazy to risk everything to go from North Carolina, the drive all the way across country to another state, unknown surrounding,
Mhm,
possibly make new friends, new
mhm,
environment? What do you say about that? And what do you say to somebody who may be in your home state or somewhere else in the East Coast or in the West Coast or somewhere like that who wants to do like that to travel
mhm.
across country? Would you encourage that? I know I've asked you three questions.
um, I would say I'm a little homesick. I It took me a while to find my people and to find my home there. And then I did, and we all went to college. And so it was like, shoot, we all gotta go and live our lives. So I get a little homesick sometimes, and I have some special people back home that I do miss. Um, but I do love it out here. I've made a lot of really good friends out here, and I love the people I've met, and I love all the things that I've done. And it it's so crazy because I came out here expecting to do absolutely nothing. I was like, I'm probably going to get a barista job and I'm going to do nothing and I'm going to just audition, 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 which is what I'm doing. I'm auditioning a lot. But I'm getting a lot more opportunities than I ever thought I would. And so for somebody who would want to take the leap and to move out here, I would say do it. I know it's crazy, and everyone told me it was crazy. Everyone was like, "Oh, LA, that's exciting, but that's really scary. Are you sure you're ready?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've been ready since I was 14 years old." And so it's just the world kind of stopped me for a bit and was like, "Actually, wait, hold on." And now I'm so happy that I made it here. And as much as I do get homesick and I do miss my friends and my family and my dogs, I it's 100% worth it, and it's worth it to come out here and just try, because I understand that there is a lot riding on the situation that I'm in, and I do get that. But also, what's the harm in trying? You can always go back to college; it's still there. I can always. I'm very lucky that I can always go home if I need. But acting as a profession will always be there, and you can get successful in acting at any age. That's what's so cool. The industry would like to tell you that you have to be young and you have to be this and you have to be hungry. Yes, you have to be hungry, but you don't have to be young. So if you're 30 years old and you're starting to love it and you're like, no, I'm too late. You're not too late. You're not. And I know I'm saying this as an 18-year-old girl, but I'm having to continuously remind myself that I am not running out of time, and no there is no time limit on talent. And so if you have the hunger, if you have the drive, work for it and do it and take the leap. Because why not?
Absolutely amazing. You take the leap, go for it, and take the
Mhm,
risk. And I wanted to ask you that because, a lot of young actors out there who maybe wanted to have the same dream and passion like you are, and they're have that afraid moment, and should I
mhm,
take that big leap? And for you, you took that big leap, and
mhm.
for that, that's encouraging a lot of people as well. So, especially from
I'm
North
still
Carolina, that's
leaping, honestly. I'm still in the midst of my leap and in
right.
the midst of figuring out my place, but
But
I'm
from
happy to
North
keep falling until I
Carolina,
find like a ledge. You know what I mean? Like let me just find a little part to grab onto, but I'm
hmm
having fun in the fall. Like I'm not mad about it.
yeah, amazing. I mean, amazing. Congratulations, everything you have done from now until up to now, and many
Thank
more
you.
projects that you're going to do. And so I appreciate you answering that question.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
For my last question, lots of people throughout our life, when we're trying to achieve big things, always say dream big.
Mhm.
So, my last question for you is, how has dreaming big changed your life?
Hmm. That's a good question. I think dreaming big has helped me understand my potential because if I hadn't have dreamt to move to LA, join the Hollywood scene, audition, do anything that comes up, like just have the hunger and have the drive. If I hadn't have had that first dream of, oh, I want to be a Hollywood actress, and I want to. At first, it was just I was 10 years old. I was like, I want to be in movies, and now it's I want to be brilliant. And my dreams just keep getting bigger and bigger as time goes on because like that saying of like reach for the moon and land in the stars.
Mhm.
I say reach for the moon and land on the moon. I don't know. I would rather like just try and reach my highest potential. But if I hadn't have had that initial dream of I want to be in movies because I love the stage, I love performing. Okay, I can do this in movies too. I wouldn't be where I am and I wouldn't have had the journey that I've had. And while it's been hard and while it's been rocky, and while at times it is still hard, I'm happy to be where I am. And I'm happy with the journey that I'm on. So yeah, I don't know if I answered your question, but I kind of just went off
Yeah,
on a tangent there.
yeah,
Wow, yes, you did.
fantastic.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Y- Lacey, I personally learned so much more about you tonight. Um, and I'm so proud of you,
Thank you.
and I cannot wait to hear more about your projects and everything you're doing. And we, as myself and Daryl, we definitely cannot wait to have you back on our podcast and our show in the future to talk
I
about
can't
your
wait to be
upcoming
back.
projects.
It's so great to talk to you guys. You guys are wonderful at asking questions. You're wonderful interviewers, and you're also just fun to talk to. So it's like really nice just being on here because it feels like I'm just talking to my friends.
We appreciate
Nice.
that. That means so
Mhm.
much. That really
Yeah. Well,
does.
consider us a friend.
I
Yeah,
do. I do consider you guys a friend.
yeah, you're our friend too, Miss Lacey.
Yes.
Thank you so much, and we appreciate you coming on. We can't wait to have you back.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, and we'll talk to you
Keep up the
soon.
keep
Yeah,
up the
talk to you
great
soon.
work.
I appreciate
You're
it.
very all right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.